Wizards. Darren Peterson goes 2 to the Utah Jazz. And Cameron Boozer goes 3 to the Memphis Grizzlies. Caleb Wilson goes 4 from UNC to Chicago. Have they had success with UNC players historically in Chicago? And there's your top 4. Okay, I'll mention Keaton Wagler from Illinois going to the LA Clippers, along with Chris Canty, Michelle Smallman, Evan Cohen with you. And you know what? Good morning. And the draft was chalky, which was a compliment to many of the teams and many of the players that maybe a lot of these guys are going to be impact right off the bat because many of them seemingly have been placed in really good situations. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning. Suits and ties pay the guys. Excited to see these guys start their professional journey. This is the culmination of a lifetime's worth of work, and those guys showed up in fine fashion at the Barclays last night. Heard their names called, put their hats on. It's really, really cool to see that experience. The interviews from Lisa Salter, just the totality of the coverage from last night. I thought it was awesome, and it's exciting to see these guys embark on this journey to be NBA players.
Totally agree. I love the draft in any sport. I love watching people's dreams come true. And not just the young men and women that walk across that stage and hear their name called, but their parents, their families, everyone that has poured into them to get to that point. It is truly a special night. And to your point about it being chalky, I think we are going to witness a lot of these players that we saw last night make impacts right away. I love a lot of the fits and the landing spots that we saw last night, and I can't wait to watch these young men take the NBA by storm. There's a lot of talent that we saw last night enter the league.
Yeah, no, okay, so off of that, is there one that jumps out at you more than others? Like when you're looking at this and you're saying, okay, I think everyone can agree it's chalky. Many people have said the lottery picks were the guys that we thought were going to be in the lottery picks. We didn't see the Cam Boozer jump to number 2, right? We didn't see the Darren Peterson jump to number 1. Not that he couldn't have been the number 1 pick, but once they gave Trae Young in Washington what Brian Windhorst has already called the worst contract in the NBA upon arrival, which is a great deal. There was a moment, by the way, in the last Hoop Collective podcast where Tim McMahon and Wendy said to Bobby Marks, who's going to join us after 9 a.m. Eastern, our front office insider, what would you have given Trae Young? And it was like $100 million less than what he actually made. But anyway, so there was no real surprise in that regard. So then which one jumped out at you? The biggest winner then, Smalls?
Gosh, you could go a lot of different ways here, but I really love the fit of Cam Boozer to Memphis. They are getting a player that I think is going to be a star right away. You get him at number 3. You also make some moves to maneuver down the board. I thought Memphis walked away with a really good player and a really smart approach last night.
Yeah, if you look at their front line now, Cedric Howard, pick they made last year, Cam Boozer, and now and Zach Edey. That's a pretty good 3-4-5 there in Memphis. Shout out to our guy Brad Carson, 92.9 in Memphis, one of our great stations that we are on each and every day. CC, a winner that jumped out at you last night?
Well, here's the thing. I need to know Anthony Davis's commitment level to the Washington Wizards before I can go there. Like, are they going to extend him? Are they going to give him the 3 years at max money? If that's the case, then you have to say it's A.J. Dybantsa with the Washington Wizards. You think about that front line, 6'9" Dybantsa, then you got a 7-footer in Alex Sarr, who you took with the top 2 pick last year, and then Anthony Davis. It covers up for a multitude of sins when it comes to the liability that is Trae Young on the defensive end of the court. So if you have that front line, that type of length, that type of size, that type of versatility, then it's going to be pretty damn hard to score on the Washington Wizards. But I will say this, my favorite player coming into this draft was Darren Peterson. Hell, my favorite player coming into last college basketball season was Darren Peterson. And I get the up and down drama at Kansas with Bill Self and Willie won't he play and coach's decision versus player decision, questions about the people that are around him. What is undeniable, what is unquestionable is his talent. This dude is the best shot maker in this class. The creativity that he has, the ability to pass, dribble, shoot, defend, it's elite level. Like, I know people don't want to go to the place of evoking the late, great Kobe Bryant, but it's going that way in terms of the talent, the style of play upon entry into the NBA. And so, yeah, I love Darren Peterson pairing him with Keontae George out there in Utah. They did a little bit of pre-agency trading for Jaren Jackson Jr. at the trade deadline during last season. You got Lauri Markkanen. We'll see what happens with Walker Kessler, but I like what the Utah Jazz are putting together. I think it's going to go up from here in terms of the talent base that's on that roster right now. So I'm excited to see Darren Peterson do his thing out there in Salt Lake.
Can I just ask a follow-up on this? You asked about in terms of best fit, winners, etc. You said specifically, I need to see what Washington does with Anthony Davis. What would you, Chris Canty, do if you ran the Wizards with Anthony Davis?
Well, I mean, listen, you just extended Trae Young to the tune of 4 years, $212 million.
Oh, my God.
You have no choice.
Competing against who exactly?
Yeah, exactly. But you have no choice, Ev. What are you like? If Trae Young is going to be your point guard, then you have to have Anthony Davis, who's still one of the best, if not the best, defensive big man in the entire sport. So yeah, you need Anthony Davis. That's a key piece. I know the Washington Wizards have to be prepared to pay Anthony Davis. The question is, does Anthony Davis want to take their money? If he does, then you feel good about the core of players that Washington is putting together. And there are people in the DMV that have been waiting a really long time for relevant basketball with their team. They have a chance at that this year now that A.J. Dybantsa is there. If Anthony Davis comes back, he's healthy, and he's happy playing for that franchise.
Yep, I think he's going to, if they offer it, I think he's going to take it, because with this kind of level of injury that he's had and the amount of games played recently and the age he's at, you take the money and you worry about the fit later. Now, theoretically, if Anthony Davis is healthy, and as you mentioned, that front line of A.J. Dybantsa, Anthony Davis, and Alex Sarr is big, strong, bruising, versatile. That's something for the first time in God knows how long for that fan base to get excited about. My winners last night, I have to defer to the late, great GOAT, that they got Cooper Flagg a bodyguard. But wait, there's more. The San Antonio Spurs.
Yes, talk about it. Talk about it.
Not one, but two bodyguards last night.
Talk about it.
The player from Kentucky by way of Arizona State, Jaden Quinns, whose name I may have mispronounced, I apologize, at 20. And then I was like, wait, they got another one in Terrace Reed Jr., who from UConn by way of Michigan. They went out there and got two bodyguards. And my theme for the night, in addition to the obvious, Dybantsa's awesome, Peterson's awesome, Boozer's awesome, Caleb Wilson, a lot of people think may end up being the best of all of them, believe it or not. The run of guards, I think Sacramento actually made a good pick in Darius A-Cup Jr., and I think he has a chance to be one of these culture changers that we look back on and say, remember when they took him and remember what the organization was prior versus what it became? I think he could be that good. But my theme, CC, the bodyguards. I love what Dallas did, and I love what San Antonio did, protecting their stars.
Listen, I love it too. I mean, Jaden Quaintance, I thought was an outstanding pick. He strikes me as a guy that's going to be an elite level shot blocker upon entry into the NBA. And then, of course, Terrace Reed Jr., championship pedigree coming from UConn, the physicality that he's going to play with. Both are big body guys. They're like enforcers in hockey, guys that you don't even necessarily need to give a stick to. You just want them on the ice skating around, looking for a problem.
That's right.
And those two players strike me as that. And San Antonio desperately needed it. So I love those two picks. I thought of the contending teams going into last night, the San Antonio Spurs helped themselves the most. Really impressed with the job that Brian Wright did with the San Antonio Spurs last night.
I'm also glad you brought up Merez Johnson Jr. because I did love that pick as well. I love him being reunited with Dusty May, who had his pick of the litter with some of his Michigan guys. And he obviously identified this is the one from a culture standpoint that I think is going to fit. I think he's going to match the level of intensity that we see from Cooper Flagg, who's ready to come back and hit the ground running. And I just really liked that with the first pick in the Dusty May era of what is going to be Dallas Mavericks basketball. He went with a known commodity that he knows how to extract the best out of.
I will say I don't think the Dusty May era started because I still think he was a Michigan coach last night. He was at the draft for his Michigan guys. There's no other head coach, to my knowledge, that was at the draft. I'll give him credit on this. He probably said to the Mavs, you got to give me one more night, though. You got to let me be there for Jaxa Lendenberg, who got drafted by the Warriors, which I think is a great pick by the Warriors. I got to be there for Merez Johnson, who ended up on his team. And I got to be there for Dybantsa, who, of course, Oklahoma City gets him. Why wouldn't they get
They
a
are so
7'3"
shrewd.
guy?
Because Chet
They
Holmgren
are
don't
so
want to play
smart.
center.
So we got this guy. Go ahead. You said he's so smart.
No, just
or they are. Excuse me.
the Oklahoma City Thunder. They have this thing down to a science. It's unbelievable how shrewd and smart they are when it comes to the draft. Not only their picks, but how they move with the compensation. They're the standard.
And they also, Bennett Sturtz, a guard from Iowa, who is
Ooh,
a
he can shoot the
playmaking,
lights out of the basketball.
three-point shooter, who obviously is going to help them and probably replace Aaron Wiggins, who was recently traded to Atlanta. So there are a lot of winners. I don't know that there was a huge loser last night. Is there one that jumps out at you just quickly here in terms of like, man, I don't know what that team was doing last night? I don't want
No,
to
I don't think we
accuse
have
someone of being
anybody
a
with
loser.
our annual New Orleans Pelicans award.
Yeah.
I don't think we have anybody with
No,
that.
I don't think so either. As I look up and down the
No.
draft, like I get it. Even the teams like the Knicks who traded out of the first round,
Yeah.
it's like,
Makes
hey,
sense.
you know what? Save a couple of
They
bucks.
saved
and
that get-
get-
$3 million.
Yeah, and
That
use
is-
it towards
that is
Mitchell
so
Robinson
petty.
or whatever it may be. I know. I'm just saying, like and it's not that they can't afford it. It's towards the dollar
It's a
figure
tax,
for the franchise long term. It's not even this year. It's long term. You save on that. So I think that there were a lot of winners last night. A lot of winners. Biggest winner from the draft was who or what team last night? 888-SAY-ESPN, 888-729-3776, your telephone number to join the show. No active player was traded last night. Not one. Which means one of the best players in the league this year is still on the team he was on yesterday. How long will that last? We'll discuss next. We're on Sportsmanlike, presented by Progressive Insurance.